Peace be upon you, my friend. I am Sheikh Yusuf, the Life Strategist, and today I am going to tell you something so controversial, so disruptive, and so contrary to everything you have been taught in your places of worship, that it may initially cause your ego to recoil in shock. But I want you to listen to me with the ears of a man who is ready to stop the cycle of struggle and step into the realm of absolute financial dominance. I am telling you now, with the weight of 50 years of strategic observation, stop praying to the infinite for money. Stop the begging, stop the pleading, and stop acting like a spiritual pauper who is trying to convince a stingy provider to throw a few crumbs of currency in your direction. I know this sounds like a violation of everything you hold sacred, but as a life strategist who has spent a lifetime decoding the ancient teachings of the most successful merchants and dynastic leaders in history, I have seen with my own eyes that the man who begs for money is the man who repels it the hardest. You think you are being pious by asking for help, but you are actually broadcasting a frequency of extreme lack, and the unspoken laws of sustained provision are built on the immutable principle that the infinite only multiplies that which is already in a state of order and readiness. Today, I am going to teach you the secret of the aligned vessel. I will show you why your prayers are currently falling silent and what you must do instead to ensure that wealth flows to you, not as a miracle that you have to chase, but as a biological and spiritual consequence of who you have become. For decades, I have watched men of great heart and sincere faith fail in the marketplace because they believed that asking was the key to receiving. They spent their nights in tears, asking for their debts to be removed and their bank accounts to be filled. Yet when the sun rose, they returned to the same chaotic habits, the same biological lethargy, and the same psychological anchors that created the poverty in the first place. They were trying to use the Creator as a cosmic ATM machine to bypass the laws of character and discipline. They did not understand that the infinite is like an endless, high-voltage electric grid. It is always on, it is always providing, and it is always seeking a path to ground itself into the physical world. If your house is not wired correctly, if your breakers are flipped, and if your lines are corroded, it does not matter how much you beg the power plant to send you electricity. The power is already at your door, but it cannot enter a broken system. You do not need to pray for more power. You need to fix the internal architecture of your life so that the power can safely reside there. This is the difference between the beggar and the strategist. The beggar asks for the result without the process. The strategist builds the process that makes the result inevitable. Let us look at the beggar's paradox through the lens of ancient psychology. When you pray from a place of desperation, when your voice is trembling with fear, and your mind is focused on the bills you cannot pay, you are literally naming your poverty. In the timeless wisdom of the early teachers, we learn that naming something is an act of creation. By saying, I need money, you are declaring, I do not have. You are anchoring your soul in the frequency of not enough. Since the universe only reflects the frequency you project, it responds with perfect accuracy by giving you more not enough. This is why things often get worse the harder you beg. You are deepening the neural and spiritual pathways of lack. The life strategist understands that the infinite is the source of all sustained provision, and that this provision is already 100% available in the unseen realm. There is no shortage of gold, there is no shortage of opportunity, and there is no shortage of transformative ideas. The shortage is entirely in your capacity to steward the blessing. In the timeless wisdom of the early teachers, we find the law of capacity precedes provision. This means that the Creator never funds confusion, and He never pours abundance into a vessel that is cracked, small, or leaking energy. Imagine a man standing under a massive roaring waterfall with a tiny thimble-sized cup. The waterfall is pouring thousands of gallons of pure, life-giving water every second. But the man is crying out, why am I only getting a drop? Why is the provider so stingy? The man doesn't need to pray for more water. He needs to throw away the thimble and build a reservoir. He needs to expand his internal and external capacity. Your current income is not an arbitrary number. It is a precise measurement of your current biological and psychological architecture. If you want $1 million provision, you must build $1 million man. This is what you must do. Instead of praying for money, you must perform a sacred audit of your internal order. The first pillar of this audit is the law of order and structure. Look at your life right now, in this very moment. Is your home in chaos? Is your desk covered in trash? Are your finances uncounted and messy? If you cannot manage the $1,000 you currently have with the precision of a jeweler, why would the administrative forces of the universe trust you with 10,000 or 1,000,000? Provision flows to order like water flows downhill. I have sat with men who were worth 9 and 10 figures, and I noticed that their lives were built on a foundation of extreme, almost military structure. They knew every penny that entered and exited their vaults. They respected the unspoken rules of time and boundaries. They were not begging for luck. They were managing the sustained provision they already had with such high-level integrity that the universe was forced to give them more. When you create order in your environment, you are telling the source, I am a worthy steward. I have created a clean place for the abundance to land. This is the first practical step. Stop asking for more and start ordering what you have. Spend the next 7 days tracking every single cent with absolute reverence. Clean every corner of your sanctuary. Reorder your daily rituals. This act of ordering is a far more powerful prayer than any words you could speak, because it is a prayer of action. It signals that you are ready for the weight of wealth. The second pillar is the law of integrity and the internal witness. Most of you are trying to manifest wealth while carrying the weight of small, hidden corruptions. You take shortcuts in your work. You tell white lies in your business dealings. You break your word to yourself and to others when no one is watching. You think these things don't matter because everyone does it. But in the realm of high-frequency provision, every shortcut is a crack in the vessel. You are building your empire on a foundation of shifting sand. The life strategist knows that the internal witness, the part of your subconscious that watches everything you do, is the ultimate regulator of your bank account. If your internal witness knows that you are a man who takes shortcuts, it will not allow you to possess great wealth because it knows you cannot sustain the pressure of it. You will subconsciously sabotage every big deal because you don't feel worthy of the increase. You don't need to pray for God to bless your business. You need to act with such absolute integrity that your own soul gives you permission to be rich. When your word is law, your intentions become your reality. This is why the most successful merchants in the ancient world were known for their unbreakable bond. They didn't need contracts. They had the frequency of truth. If you want to receive money immediately, start by being 100% honest in every transaction today. Do not hide the flaw in your product. Do not overpromise. Do not take the extra dollar that you didn't earn. This integrity creates a biological and spiritual solidity that attracts sustained provision like a magnetic force. The third pillar is the law of biological capital. We have discussed this before, but I must reinforce it here because it is the most neglected part of wealth. You cannot hold a high voltage life in a low voltage body. When you beg for wealth while consuming the food of lethargy and the food of impatience, you are a walking contradiction. You are asking for the energy of a king while living with the biology of a slave. The infinite provides the seed, but you must provide the soil. If your body is thick with toxins and your mind is clouded by sugar spikes and crashes, you will not have the cognitive processing power to handle the complexity of wealth. Wealth is a high-pressure environment. It requires focus, it requires the ability to stay calm during a storm, and it requires long-term stamina. If you are biologically weak, you will inevitably push the wealth away to find rest in mediocrity. You will choose a small life because a large life is physically too demanding for your current vessel. Instead of praying for money, pray for the discipline to master your own flesh. When you show that you can control your appetite, you show the Creator that you can control your destiny. The provision will find the man who is awake, alert, and physically prepared to move when the door opens. Let us speak of the law of stewardship versus ownership. The biggest reason your prayers for money fail is that you are praying as an owner. You want the money for yourself. You want it for your comfort, your ego, and your status. This is a very small, very restricted frequency that leads to eventual stagnation. The infinite does not provide for owners because ownership is a dead end. Provision flows through a vessel, not to a vessel. The life strategist views himself as a steward, a manager of resources that ultimately belong to the source. When you shift your mindset from how can I get rich to how much provision can I manage for the benefit of the world, The gates of abundance swing wide open. Why? Because you are no longer a destination, you are a channel. The universe wants to fund people who are going to circulate the resources with wisdom and order. If I am a high-level investor, am I going to give my capital to a man who is going to hide it in a jar for his own comfort? Or am I going to give it to the merchant who is going to use it to build ships, create value, and expand the reach of the trade? The infinite is the ultimate investor. He is looking for high-impact stewards. When you pray, you should be saying, Master of the universe, expand my capacity to manage your resources. Make me a man who can steward millions with integrity and wisdom so that I may be a source of order in the world. This is a prayer that the administrative forces of the universe cannot ignore, because you are asking to fulfill your primary purpose. You are offering your life as a vessel for the greater plan. To facilitate this transformation, we must move into the protocol of aligned action, the specific silent steps that move the world without you ever having to say a word. Step 1 is the recognition of presence. Every morning when you wake up, instead of asking for what you lack, you must perform a provision scan. You will spend 10 minutes identifying every single piece of sustained provision already in your life, the air in your lungs, the roof over your head, the internet connection in your hand, and the health of your limbs. Do not do this with a hopeful or begging heart. Do it with a strategic mind. Realize that the provision is already here. You are already in the river of life. This shift in focus from lack to presence changes your biological frequency from a beggar to a manager. You are acknowledging the capital you already have. And what you acknowledge, you can multiply. Step 2 is the identification of the leak. Ask yourself with total brutal honesty, if I were the infinite, why would I not give me $10 million today? Is it your lack of discipline? Is it your messy environment? Is it your history of broken promises to yourself? Is it your biological lethargy? Identify the leak in your vessel. Once you identify it, stop praying and start fixing. If the leak is a messy house, clean it. If the leak is a lack of skill, study until you are a master. If the leak is an unhealthy body, fast from the poisons of the modern world. The act of fixing the leak is the most sincere prayer you can ever offer. It is a physical demonstration of your commitment to the increase. Step 3 is the law of value projection. Wealth is simply the physical reflection of the value you project into the marketplace. If you are not receiving money, it is because you are not projecting enough value, or you are projecting it to people who do not value it. Instead of asking for money, ask, how can I become 10 times more valuable to the world today? What skill can you master that would make you indispensable? What problem can you solve that others are too lazy or too scared to touch? When you increase your internal value, the external provision is forced to match it by the unspoken laws of consequence. You cannot be a high-value vessel and remain poor. It is a violation of the order of the universe. The money is not the goal. The value is the goal. The money is just the shadow cast by the substance of your value. If you want a bigger shadow, you need a larger substance. Step 4 is the release of the how. When you pray for money, you often try to tell the Creator how it should come. You want it through a specific deal, a specific promotion, or a specific stroke of luck. This is a sign of extreme arrogance and limited vision. You are trying to manage the ultimate manager. The life strategist knows that his job is to build the vessel and project the value. The how is the department of the provider. When you stop obsessing over the how, you stop the frantic, anxious energy that repels success. You remain in a state of stoic expectation. You do the work, you order your life, and you wait with the absolute certainty that the provision will arrive in its own time and in its own way. This certainty is the frequency of the elite. It is the calm of a man who knows the law of the harvest is working in his favor. I want to tell you a story of a student of mine. He was a man who had spent 20 years in a state of deep financial struggle. He was a prayer warrior. He spent hours begging for a breakthrough. He was a good man, but he was a man in total chaos. His home was a mess. His health was failing, and he was constantly looking for shortcuts to get ahead. He came to me and said, Sheikh Yusuf, I have prayed until my voice is gone. Why does the source ignore me? I looked at his messy clothes, his shaky hands, and his frantic eyes, and I said, the source is not ignoring you. He is waiting for you to become a person he can communicate with. You are currently a chaotic noise. You are asking for a kingdom while living like a refugee of your own discipline. Go home, clean your house, stop eating sugar, and do not ask for a single penny for 30 days. Just order your life with the precision of a king. He was angry. He felt I was being unspiritual. But he was at the end of his rope, so he did it. He stopped the begging prayers. He focused entirely on the architecture of the vessel. He cleaned his environment until it shone. He started a strict biological protocol. He began tracking his tiny income with the precision of an accountant. He started projecting value in his small job that he had previously neglected. By the third week, he called me. His voice was calm. He said, "Sheikh Yusuf, for the first time in my life, I don't feel desperate. I feel ready." That same week, an old contact who he hadn't spoken to in 5 years reached out with a partnership offer. It wasn't a miracle from the sky, it was a consequence of his new frequency. The contact said, "I saw your recent work and I noticed a change in your energy. You seem more focused, more solid. I have a project that needs someone I can trust with absolute order." That partnership turned into a multi-million-dollar venture. He didn't get rich because he asked harder. He got rich because he stopped asking and started being a man that wealth could finally find. You must understand that the infinite is always in a state of yes. There is no no in the divine provision. The only thing that stops the yes is your own no. The no of your chaos, the no of your corruption, and the no of your lethargy. When you remove your own no, the divine yes flows in automatically. This is why I say, stop praying for money. The money is already there, flowing through the world. Pray for the strength to be disciplined. Pray for the wisdom to be ordered. Pray for the courage to be honest. And then move your feet toward the work. The ancient teachings tell us that the blessing of the provider makes a man rich, and he adds no sorrow with it. Sorrow comes when wealth is built on a broken foundation. It comes when you hustle through corruption and lack of order. But when you build according to the Life Strategist blueprint, the wealth is clean, it has no weight. It brings peace, not anxiety. This is the sustained provision we seek. Let us expand on this for those who are ready for the highest levels of dominance. Let us speak of the merchant's meditation of the vault. In the old trade routes, the master merchant would spend a few minutes each day imagining his vault. He wouldn't imagine the gold inside it. He would imagine the strength of the vault itself. He would imagine the heavy iron doors, the precise locks, and the solid stone walls. He knew that the gold would find its way to a strong vault. He focused on the security and the integrity of the container. This is how you must view your life. You are the vault. If the vault is strong, the gold is safe. If the vault is weak, the gold is a danger to you. Most of you are trying to put gold into a cardboard box and wondering why the thieves of life keep stealing it. Strengthen the walls of your character. Harden the locks of your discipline. The gold is already on its way. It is just waiting for a safe place to land. Let us also discuss the biology of belief. When you pray from lack, you are triggering a stress response in your body. Your cortisol rises, your tunnel vision narrows, and you enter a state of survival. In a survival state, you cannot be a strategist. You cannot see the long-term moves. You are only thinking about the next hour or the next bill. This is the biological trap of poverty. But when you stop begging and start ordering, your nervous system enters a state of high-frequency calm. Your brain opens up. Your creativity spikes. You begin to see patterns and opportunities that were invisible to you when you were in survival mode. You literally become smarter as a result of your discipline. This is the competitive advantage of the life strategist. You are outthinking your competition because your biology is not being hijacked by the panic of lack. You are operating from the sovereign table. To ensure your vessel is fully constructed, let us delve into the law of the 10th vessel. In the ancient commerce of our ancestors, a merchant never considered his profit complete until a tenth of it was put into the hands of those who had nothing. You might think this is charity, but it is strategic circulation. When you give, you are proving to your subconscious that you have a surplus. You are declaring to the infinite, I am a high capacity channel. If you hold your money with a clenched fist, nothing can enter your hand. But when your hand is open to give, it is also open to receive. The man who is too poor to give is the man who will always remain poor. He is telling the universe that he is a thimble that can only hold a drop. But the man who gives even from his small amount is telling the universe that he is a reservoir. He is signaling that he is a manager of resources, not just a consumer of them. This circulation of value is the heartbeat of wealth. If the heart stops pumping blood, the body dies. If you stop circulating value and provision, your financial life dies. I want you to look at your current giving. Are you stingy? Are you afraid that if you give, you will have less? That fear is the anchor of your poverty. Cut the anchor today. Give something small, with order and intention, and watch how it opens the gates of your own provision. Let us also speak of the architecture of the time gate. Every day is composed of 24 hours, but not all hours are created equal. The life strategist knows that the first hour after the sun rises is the hour of sovereignty. In this hour, you must not consume the noise of the world. You must not check your digital devices. You must not listen to the fears of others. This is the hour where you command your morning. If you spend this hour in a state of order, silence, and planning, you are setting the frequency for the entire day. Most people wake up in a state of reaction. They react to their alarms, they react to their emails, they react to their hunger. They have already lost their sovereignty before the day has even begun. But the man of wealth wakes up in a state of creation. He is the one who sets the terms of the day. He is the one who decides what value will be projected. This discipline of the morning guard is what separates the masters from the servants. If you cannot control your first hour, you cannot control your life. And if you cannot control your life, you cannot manage wealth. Start tomorrow. The first 60 minutes belong to your architecture. Use them to order your mind, to strengthen your body, and to align with the source. We must also address the environment of envy. If you are surrounded by people who vibrate at the frequency of I can't and it's not fair, their energy will slowly corrode your vessel. Envy is a silent poison. It is a restrictive force that tries to pull you back into the crowd. I have seen men build a pristine vessel of discipline only to have it cracked by the environmental pressure of a toxic social circle. You must be a gatekeeper of your own sanctuary. You do not owe anyone your time if they are trying to steal your frequency. Surround yourself with men of order. Surround yourself with those who respect the laws of sustained provision. Even if you have to be alone for a season, it is better to be a solitary king than a member of a group of beggars who are all complaining about the wind. The silence of solitude is where the most powerful strategies are born. Do not fear it. Embrace it. Solitude is the classroom of the elite. To truly reach the pinnacle of this strategy, we must understand the law of the silent foundation. In the ancient desert, the grandest palaces were built on foundations that no one ever saw. They were buried deep, consisting of thousands of precisely laid stones. If the foundation was weak, the golden dome would eventually crack. Most people spend their lives trying to polish the dome, the visible part of their wealth, while their foundation of character is crumbling. They want the flashy car, the expensive clothes, and the public status, but they are hollow inside. The life strategist reverses this. He spends 90% of his time on the foundation. He builds a character of steel, a discipline of iron, and an integrity that is absolute. When the foundation is deep and solid, the wealth sits upon it effortlessly. It does not feel like a burden to be rich, because your character is strong enough to carry the weight. If you feel stressed by your small amount of money, you are not ready for more. Stress is the sign of a weak foundation. Strengthen your internal world, and the external world will have no choice but to expand to match it. This is why I speak so much about the internal world. It is the source of everything you see. If you want to change the fruit of the tree, you do not paint the fruit. You water the roots. Stop trying to hack the marketplace and start watering your roots of discipline. This is the only path to sustained generational provision. Those who ignore the roots will always be at the mercy of the wind. But those whose roots are deep in the ancient wisdom will remain standing even when the global economies collapse. I have seen it happen. I have seen men who were once poor become the wealthiest in their cities because they focused on the laws that others ignored. They were not lucky. They were aligned. They were the masters of their own vessel. Now I want to lead you into the final realization of this session. You were not created to live a life of desperation. You were not designed to be a beggar of the infinite. You were designed to be a representative of the infinite. You were given intelligence, you were given a body, and you were given the ability to choose. When you choose discipline, when you choose order, and when you choose integrity, you are fulfilling your design. You are becoming a man of substance. The money is simply the natural byproduct of that alignment. I want you to go into the comments right now and write these words: I am an aligned vessel. By writing that, you are making a public declaration that you are finished with the rituals of poverty. You are telling the world and your own ego that you are ready to build a life of ordered abundance. Subscribe to this channel, because next week I am going to teach you the protocol of the silent harvest, the specific way you must manage your wins so that the eye of judgment cannot restrict your future growth. Remember, the infinite is ready to provide. The question is, are you ready to receive? Stop the noise, quiet your soul, fix your vessel, and watch as the sea of provision parts before you. Your soul is the blueprint, and your life is the construction. I have given you the strategy. Now you must provide the execution. Do not let me down. Do not let the provider find a broken, messy vessel when he is ready to pour. Clean your house. Fix your biology. Stand in the truth. Move from begging to building. Move from asking to aligning. Move from poverty to provision. The laws are in your hands. The wisdom is in your heart. The power is in your next decision. I am Sheikh Yusuf, the Life Strategist. We are building a legacy that will stand for 1,000 years. It starts with one man, one vessel, and one day of absolute discipline. Let today be that day. Let this moment be the end of your struggle and the beginning of your dominance. Peace be upon you, my friend. Go forth and construct the life that was designed for you from the beginning. Construct it with order, with silence, and with the unwavering faith of a man who knows the harvest is coming. I will see you in the next session, where we will dive even deeper into the hidden mechanics of your inevitable success. Stay sharp, stay disciplined, and stay silent about your plans until the work is done. The world doesn't need to hear your promises, it needs to be moved by your results. The infinite is ready to pour. Make sure your cup is whole. Peace. And remember, the man who masters his own internal state is the man who masters the external world. There is no obstacle that can stop a man whose vessel is whole. The provision is yours. Claim it through the language of order. Now,